My mother asserts that as long as one is willing to endure hardship, there will be an inexhaustible supply of suffering. Girls must be indolent, for the lazier one is, the happier one becomes. Thus, I wholeheartedly heeded her advice. Even though I am aware that I am a malicious supporting character in the realm of a novel, I can hardly be bothered. As long as I remain sufficiently lethargic, the plot cannot keep pace with me. The protagonist, Joya, is a student from a humble background and also a transfer student. From the very first day she enters the school, the narrative of the novel officially embarks on its main trajectory. In a single day, Joya encounters both the academic prodigy and the school bully, causing the two formidable figures to develop affections for her. This incident ignites fervent interest on the school forum. The reason is simple: the academic prodigy and the school bully are universally acknowledged as handsome figures within the institution. However, they are merely among my prospective suitors. My mother is exceedingly wealthy, her family lineage steeped in affluence. By the time it reaches me, we are already several generations of prosperity. According to my mother, one should not stubbornly endure hardships unnecessarily. My family has reached a point where wealth generates wealth effortlessly. As long as there is money, we have an abundance of managerial talent. My mere existence and expenditure is the greatest contribution I can make. Therefore, my mother has been scouting for several exceptionally attractive candidates for my future spouse. Among them are the academic achiever Hishio, whom Joya has encountered, and the campus bully Meng Tingchan. Although I do not feel any hormonal attraction towards them, it does not hinder my ability to appreciate their good looks. People naturally gravitate towards beauty in all its forms. However, it is evident that none of them are meant for me. In my world, I am the impeccable protagonist, the epitome of a fortunate rebirth, leading a life of luxury. Conversely, in the realm of fiction, I am destined to be the villainous supporting character who ultimately brings about my own downfall. Even the wealth of my family would eventually be squandered by my own hand, leaving the male and female leads blissfully united while I am left destitute and bereft of everything. Perhaps this is the inevitable fate of a wicked supporting character. Upon realizing this, I have come to wholeheartedly agree with my mother's assertion. As long as I remain sufficiently lazy, I cannot ruin the family fortune. Joya herself is also an academic prodigy. Her exceptional learning abilities have allowed her to gain admission to this prestigious school. To entice her, the institution waived her tuition and miscellaneous fees, providing her with scholarships and grants. Her deskmate is enthusiastically sharing gossip about Xiao Zhirong, the school's universally acknowledged beauty and a wealthy heiress. Her mother is the primary shareholder of this institution. Even the two male icons you encountered last time are among her suitors. This truly feels like a narrative of unadulterated indulgence. Hearing their gossip, I internally nod in agreement, as I too believe I am living a charmed existence. Joya slightly furrowed her brow before relaxing into a nonchalant demeanor, remarking, "Indeed. However, I believe that life is ultimately more meaningful when one relies on their own efforts. For instance, I exert effort in my studies and reap the rewards." I may not perceive Joya as subtle expressions, yet her words ring true. Some individuals must invest 100-fold effort to seize a singular opportunity. If successful, they rise above the rest. Yet I am not among those who must exert such effort to grasp a fleeting chance. I am, in fact, the opportunity itself. They seek to win my favor in exchange for granting them access to success. However, this single instance of gossip has led me to ponder that Joya is not merely a naive flower. She possesses her own motives. Perhaps the image of a black lotus is more fitting for her. Joya's presence at this school is purposeful. She aspires to take shortcuts. In an environment abundant with the affluent, Hishio has become her primary target. Perhaps the malevolent supporting character is inherently drawn into the female lead's orbit. As per usual, Hishio approaches me with unwavering persistence when Joya inadvertently spills her drink, drenching him completely, his clothes, trousers, and shoes, all equally afflicted. I marvel at how she has perfected this art. Joya's panicked voice rings out, "I'm so sorry. I'll compensate you." I can't help but wonder if the next line will be an invitation to exchange WeChat. Predictably, Joya continues, "You can scan my WeChat. I'll transfer the money to you shortly." I widen my eyes in disbelief. How cliché. Could Hishio truly fall for such a ploy? It seems implausible. Clearly, the power of the narrative is formidable. Hishio, smitten at first sight, hastily retrieves his phone to scan and add her on WeChat, executing the process with alarming speed, as though fearing he might miss the chance. Does he truly lack this trivial sum? I find it hard to believe. This is merely the folly of base instincts at play. Very well, he is no longer a candidate worthy of consideration. I quickly pull out my phone and message my mother. Greetings, esteemed matriarch. Mother replies, spit it out quickly. I respond, Hishio is not a good match. Withdraw the investment. Mother replies with an okay emoji. While I can afford to be lazy regarding Joya, I cannot overlook the need to rectify the presence of a scoundrel. Moreover, I have always excelled at reporting grievances. Since Hishio has been ousted from my consideration, he shall no longer benefit from the resources of my family. Simultaneously, multiple core projects of the He family receive notifications of investment withdrawal. Several crucial collaborations are abruptly severed, leading to a precipitous drop in He Corporation as stock, alarming the shareholders. The elderly patriarch of the He family is nearly struck down by a heart attack in response. Several calls are made to my family, to which my mother casually replies, Shio is rather clever. We feel Jarong is under undue strain, so we shall not impede him any further. Once the He family understands the situation, they summon Hishio home for a stern reprimand. Reports indicate that the scene was quite dramatic, with Hishio's father pursuing him around the house with a golf club. Fortunately, the elderly patriarch intervened, preventing any further escalation. A few days later, when we meet again, Hishio bears dark circles under his eyes, truly resembling a diligent scholar. In the interim, Joya has become as close as old friends with Hishio, engaging in endless conversation. Hishio gazes at Joya with eyes filled with gratitude for her understanding, as though she alone comprehends him in this world. In short, he has fallen for her. From Hishio's perspective, my actions appear to be a cruel interference, utilizing financial leverage to coerce them. Naturally, Joya shares this sentiment. She rebukes me vehemently, Xiao Zhurong, your behavior is utterly excessive. Joya stands in the center of the classroom, surrounded by several classmates who are typically engrossed in gossip. Just because Shio and I exchanged WeChat, you resort to using your family's influence to suppress him and the He family? You are trampling on someone's dignity with your wealth. How can matters of the heart be manipulated through money? Shio is an independent individual, not a plaything to be bound by your finances. Her passionate indignation is palpable. I understand your family holds power, but that is no justification for your actions. True happiness cannot be achieved at the expense of others. Your behavior only reveals your own pitifulness. The classroom falls silent, all eyes fixated on me, a mixture of curiosity, scrutiny, and a hint of schadenfreude in the air. Hishio stands behind Joya, lips pressed together, silent. I leisurely raise my gaze to the fervently impassioned Joya. Oh, I respond. Joya clearly did not anticipate such a tepid reaction from me, even perceiving it as dismissive. Her prepared monologue and subsequent inquiries become stifled, her face flushing with embarrassment. You can only respond with "oh?" She asks incredulously. I nod, leaning back into the most comfortable position. Is that all you have to say? Is your throat sore? Do you need a sip of water? I gesture towards the old plastic cup on her desk. Soja. Surrounding classmates. Hishio. Xiao Zhurong. You are humiliating me. Joya trembles with rage. Not at all, I reply innocently, even stifling a yawn, as I merely state facts. Withdrawing investment is a standard business decision. Hishio's actions have raised my perception of risk in investing in the He family, thus I am merely mitigating losses. It is a perfectly rational business maneuver. I shrug, indicating the logic of my actions. Hishio tugs at Joya's sleeve, signaling her to cease. In his view, if Joya can rally the sentiments of our classmates to collectively condemn me, that would be ideal. If not, she must refrain, as it could jeopardize his interests. Thus, he begins to backtrack. Joya, don't say anymore. It was my fault that caused Jerome to be upset. She is justified in her grievances. Joya's face turns ashen with anger. She had not anticipated that the first man she had set her sights on would prove so spineless, a mere fence-sitter. She stands in front, strategizing and confronting challenges, while he lingers in the background, observing the situation, ready to defect at any moment. In a fit of rage, Joya swiftly delivers a resounding slap, leaving everyone in shock. She storms out, and Hishiyo instinctively follows her. How they reconcile afterward is no longer my concern. Regardless, the plot has certainly taken a turn. After soothing Joya, Hishiyo has come to curry favor with me once more. At this juncture, I began to ponder. Is it not said that academic achievers possess singular minds? How is it that he is so adept at navigating social intricacies? Meng Tingchen stood protectively before me, and Hishiyo's face betrayed discomfort. Meng Tingchen, what do you mean? He inquired. Meng Tingchen scoffed disdainfully. You should know well enough. Those who are out of the game should refrain from encroaching on territory. Hishiyo swung his fist, but it was halted midair, with Meng Tingchen taunting. You ought to practice more, little weakling. Hishiyo's face turned ashen, and he stormed off in a fit of rage. Zhou Ya's eyes flickered, witnessing the entire exchange. She pondered that perhaps Meng Tingchen was a more suitable choice. Observing his sense of responsibility, coupled with his ability to attract Qiao Jiarong, she mused on how delightful that would be. Furthermore, Hishiyo's family was no longer as affluent as before, and he was rather stingy with his money. It was fortunate she had not become his girlfriend, otherwise she would have suffered a loss. Indeed, it seemed wise to diversify one's options. With this thought, Zhouya made her move. Meng Tingchen, do you remember me? We met on the first day of school. Her cheeks flushed with embarrassment. Meng Tingchen turned, and upon seeing her, instinctively frowned. Is there something you need? Zhouya lowered her eyelashes slightly, revealing a graceful swan-like neck. I envy Qiao Jiarong for having a friend like you, so I too wish to befriend you. Would you agree? I gaped, watching Zhouya's clumsy overture, which felt rather uncomfortable. Is this truly the heroine of this world? What kind of reality must this be? Could Meng Tingchen also be influenced by the narrative, falling for Zhouya at first sight, losing his intellect in the process? I gazed at him with concern. To be honest, I had invested considerable energy in Meng Tingchen. I recognized my own adolescent infatuation with the school bully. Meng Tingchen scrutinized Zhouya, a new transfer student. Zhouya's eyes sparkled with surprise. She had not anticipated Meng Tingchen would remember her. Yes, I am Zhouya. Do you recall me? At this revelation, I felt utterly defeated. Was it inevitable that Meng Tingchen would eventually belong to Zhouya? With this thought, my gaze towards Meng Tingchen instantly turned hostile. Meng Tingchen was someone I had rescued from the orphanage, though it may not be entirely accurate, as I had followed the proper procedures. To prevent him from coveting my inheritance, I had arranged for him to have an independent household registration. Yet, everything he possessed was granted by me. In our youth, I relished playing house, and my mother had taken me to the orphanage to choose someone I liked.
He chose Meng Tingchen.
And thus he ascended to the upper echelons of society. His only contribution was his emotions. As long as he kept me happy, he would retain everything. Over the years, I had nurtured him like a character in a simulation game, investing little by little. He had grown increasingly admirable and suited to my tastes, awaiting my selection. I had not anticipated someone would beat me to it. In that moment, I even entertained the notion of opposing the heroine. All this time, I had avoided confronting her for fear of a tragic outcome. But what if I acted against her now? What would transpire? Would this world unravel? Meng Tingchen was far too attuned to my emotions. Perhaps over the years, he had been ever vigilant of my feelings, so even if I concealed my displeasure, he could sense it. He disregarded Zhouya and turned to comfort me. At that moment, I found myself admiring him. Emotion is, after all, the most precious commodity. I doubted I could ever charm someone for the sake of wealth. Rong, are you feeling unwell? He gazed at me with the same deep affection as before. They say one cannot hide the gaze of love. His soulful eyes could stir anyone's heart, leading them to believe he cherished me.
Yet,
I pondered whether love could truly be performed, whether deep affection could too. Could Meng Tingchen be that kind of person? If so, I would find it a pity. Not sadness, but a sense of regret. After all, I had invested considerable time nurturing him, only to face failure. This would leave me with a profound sense of frustration. Meng Tingchen, to whom do you belong? I felt an urgent need for him to acknowledge his allegiance, even as I recognized the impropriety of such a request. Meng Tingchen displayed no displeasure. He had never revealed any discomfort in my presence, always presenting perfection. Rong, I am yours. Even that response was rendered flawlessly. In the past, I would have been satisfied. But now, I found myself deeply troubled. I began to question his sincerity. Was it genuine or merely a masterful act?
So yas kontenance darkend.
She perceived my actions as a direct affront, an attempt to overshadow her. Meng Tingchen, what if I insist you cease all contact with her? I was not inquiring. Meng Tingchen understood my implication, awaiting his choice. A flicker of complex emotion flashed in his eyes, which I failed to comprehend. I will heed whatever Rongrong says. In that moment, I confirmed my role as the undoubtedly malicious supporting character. My existence merely served to vex Zhouya. Even if I did not deliberately target her, her desire to take what was mine compelled me to resist. Thus, I diverged from the narrative. With clarity restored, my tension dissipated, replaced by a sense of relief. I resumed my gentle and harmless demeanor, jesting, "Why would I interfere with your friendships?" Meng Tingchen said nothing, yet maintained his distance from Zhouya, who glared at me with resentment. In the days that followed, I pondered a particular experiment. I yearned to discern what would transpire should I truly take action against Zhouya. A modest experiment would suffice. I am no saint. Hesitating when it was time to act would only lead to missed opportunities. On a sunny afternoon, I orchestrated for Zhouya to be captured by my associates. As per the plan, they carved a scar across her face in a cross pattern. Zhouya screamed in terror. Her face was her asset, her means of escaping the lower echelons of society. Now it was being ruined by a group of unknown assailants. She seemed to sense something amiss, her first instinct being to suspect me. "You were sent by Qiao Zhirong, weren't you?" I knew that woman harbored ill intentions and sought to harm me. Bring Qiao Zhirong out. If she is capable of orchestrating this, why can't she confront me in person? I quietly observed her unraveling through the one-way glass. The tempest I had envisioned failed to materialize, yet I felt an unexpected pang of anxiety. The doctor I had arranged was waiting just outside, poised for the opportune moment to intervene. It was merely an experiment. I had no intention of disfiguring Zhouya. Ruining a girl's appearance is far too despicable. With the capabilities of these cosmetic surgeons, they would leave no trace of a scar on Zhouya. After half an hour of waiting, Zhouya's screams had waned into exhaustion. No unforeseen events had occurred. Just as I began to feel reassured, an anomaly manifested. I watched as time seemed to reverse. Everything returned to the day Zhouya was captured. She had evaded that route, her memories intact as time rewound. Is this the privilege of the heroine? Fortunately, I had not revealed myself. Even if she suspected me, there was no evidence, was there? This experiment had left me shaken. Hishio could not escape the narrative's pull. He fell in love with Zhouya at first sight. Meng Tingchen, who had always been devoted to me, did not initially reject Zhouya's overtures. Although I had approached this with a careless mindset, I could not suppress the urge to probe further. Is this world truly tailored for Zhouya? The heroine must not bear any facial flaws. Thus, she had to revert to her original state. Fearing that the heroine might be captured again, the plot had ensured she returned with her memories intact. All of this fills me with trepidation, for no matter what I do, I find myself utterly powerless against her. If this continues to unfold as it has, I may indeed be destined for a tragic conclusion akin to that of a narrative. I cannot accept such a fate, for in that ending, my mother emerges as the greatest victim. I am willing to endure harm myself, but I will not allow my family to be harmed.
So yeah.
This time I have not been defeated by you. Rather, I have succumbed to the plot itself. In this experiment, I deliberately distance myself from Meng Tingchen, for I do not trust him. If I cannot escape the influence of the narrative, how could he possibly be an exception? In light of this, I cannot afford to keep a ticking bomb close. Who knows if it is indeed a time bomb? If not a time bomb, then it is a grenade or a landmine. Regardless, it is best to keep it at a distance. It cannot explode near me. Zhouya seizes every opportunity to flaunt her presence before Meng Tingchen. What he thinks in his heart, I do not know. All I am aware of is that he does not reject Zhouya's advances, and the two of them appear together as a couple. Zhouya's charms extend beyond Meng Tingchen, even if she looks down upon Hishio internally. She maintains a relationship with him that is neither too distant nor too close. She also attracts the affections of other powerful and wealthy men. In this world, men are enamored with her, women harbor jealousy towards her, and passers-by gaze upon her with envy. To avoid descending into the most abject depths, My only recourse is to attempt to extricate myself from this situation. I chose to go abroad. Everything went exceedingly smoothly. My mother accompanied me overseas. I do not want Hishiyo. I do not want Meng Tingchan either. I desire my wealth, power, status, and family. Zhouya, I cannot contend with you. However, I also refuse to be your stepping stone. If everything could continue this smoothly, there is no way Zhouya could locate me with such precision. Perhaps she never had the opportunity to go abroad at all. 3 years swiftly passed. Zhouya lacked the means to leave the country. The plot could not affect me, and I would not be coerced into self-destruction. Just as I was rejoicing in my decision, I spotted Zhouya and Meng Tingchan approaching. I blinked rapidly, thinking I must have been mistaken. Perhaps it was a magnetic pull, for Zhouya noticed me, and Meng Tingchan turned his gaze in my direction. Despite the bustling crowd in the mall, filled with handsome men and beautiful women that should attract attention, he singularly focused on me. My complexion turned pale, and his reaction was even more pronounced. I had never witnessed such an expression on his face. He had always been gentle towards me, never showing any displeasure. The smile on Meng Tingchan's face gradually shattered, the warmth in his eyes cooling to an icy demeanor, and the upward curve of his lips turned somber. He pushed Zhouya aside, disregarding her astonished expression, and walked straight towards me. The moment I realized what was happening, I instinctively fled. My high heels did not hinder my speed, and Meng Tingchan pursued me relentlessly. This time, aided by the cover of the crowd, I managed to evade capture. Upon returning home, I finally had time to reflect on my fears. The power of the narrative is too formidable. Even when I hide, it can still find me. My fear does not stem from Meng Tingchan himself, but from Zhouya, who stands beside him. She is the protagonist of this world, and everyone must cater to her and pave the way for her. If only she possessed a fundamentally kind nature, it might have been bearable, but she does not. Therefore, even if I were to concede, the outcome would still be grim. My abundance is an original sin in Zhouya's eyes. Faced with this predicament, I once again chose to escape with my mother. This time, I failed. I had arranged for a private jet, boarded the plane, and it had already taken off. Yet, I watched in despair as the narrative rewrote itself, reversing time back to the day I encountered Meng Tingchan and Zhouya. Zhouya looked at me triumphantly, as if I were a fugitive caught after a hasty escape. I stood there, paralyzed with despair, as Meng Tingchan approached me with the same expression, Zhouya trailing closely behind. At this point, I realized that Zhouya was also equipped with memories of our previous encounters. If only it were that simple. It clearly was not. This time, the narrative had conferred upon Zhouya an advantage. After 3 years apart, she had blossomed into a refined beauty, casting aside her former petty demeanor, and she spoke amiably. Zhao Jirong, it has been 3 years. I am so glad to see you again. I wish to avoid entanglements with her, opting for silence. However, Zhouya took the initiative to grasp my hand, formally introducing herself as my biological sister, sharing the same father and mother. My first reaction was disbelief. My parents had only one daughter, me. Yet, Zhouya claimed to be my sister. The only possible explanation is that the narrative has altered. According to the original timeline, I would have self-destructed over the past 3 years, relinquishing my wealth, power, and status, allowing Zhouya to ascend in my stead. However, I had evaded that fate for 3 years. The narrative could not progress. Meng Tingchan remained stoic, silently guarding Zhouya's side. If he once had eyes only for me, now he stood impassively in opposition to me. Zhouya's expression of triumph was palpable. I felt dizzy, unsure of how to navigate this situation. Then my mother appeared. The woman who had once poured all her maternal love into me now directed her gaze toward Zhouya. My mother gently caressed Zhouya, saying, "My dear Ya, are you tired? Stay by Mama's side from now on. Please don't leave." I felt a wave of paralysis wash over me, my heart sinking. Zhouya whispered to me, "The narrative serves me. Therefore, I have acquired a new identity. Sister, my sister." Observing my mother's complete disregard for my existence, I found myself devoid of the strength to shout or cry. Zhouya nestled into my mother's embrace, her eyes gleaming with triumph as she asked, "Mama, who do you love more, your eldest daughter or me?" My mother hesitated, glancing back at me. Her eyes wrestled with inner turmoil for a moment before settling into tranquility, her heart full of affection for Zhouya. Jarong is the elder sister, and you are the younger sister. She must yield to you. You must not compete for Mama's love. Of course, I love you the most. I staggered back a step, nearly losing my balance, and Meng Tingchan quickly caught me, only to release me just as swiftly. Zhouya's eyes flashed with displeasure as she shot an angry glare at Meng Tingchan. With a quivering voice, I implored, Mama. I am your daughter, your only daughter, your most beloved daughter. I did not care about losing Hishiyo. I could also be indifferent to losing Meng Tingchan. But my mother was different. She was the one I cherished most. My mother's gaze was distant, chillingly cold as she said, Qiao Zhirong, you must take good care of your sister. Do not engage in jealousy or rivalry. I do not like that. I numbly replied, how is she my sister? She interrupted me sharply, her brow furrowed, brimming with impatience. If you are to be a sister, you must act like one. If you bully Ya again, do not blame me for casting you out of the family. Zhouya nestled into my mother's embrace, a victorious smile gracing her lips as her eyes provocatively met mine, silently proclaiming her total victory. She had indeed triumphed. She had effortlessly taken everything from me. I found myself at a loss, unsure if I should be angry. All that remained was a sense of numbness and coldness. Is this the power of the narrative? I had evaded it for 3 years. Yet it granted Zhouya an entirely new identity out of thin air. It stripped me of my desire to resist in the cruelest manner possible. I stared at the cold, polished floor, my expression blank as I stated, I understand. I will take good care of my sister.
Zhouya's smile deepened.
My mother was pleased with my compliance and redirected all her attention back to Zhouya, showering her with affection. Meng Tingchan's body stiffened imperceptibly, but I was unaware. Zhouya moved into our home, instantly assuming the role of mistress, charming my mother into surrendering everything. In truth, even without her charms, the power of the narrative would have granted her all of this. She never regarded me as a rival. She boldly laid everything before me, saying, Qiao Zhirong, are you not curious about all of this? I cast my gaze downward, concealing the tumult of emotions within. She continued unabated, this world is indeed fascinating. You mere paper beings cannot escape my dominion. Ultimately, what I desire will find its way into my hands. I am the protagonist of this world, the very author of its creation. Thus, it dawned on me that this world was her narrative. Zhouya, the architect of this realm, was unperturbed by my silence. Her interest piqued as she observed me closely. I initially sought your body. After all, the identity of a protagonist is rather insignificant, lacking in stature. Who would have thought that you, a mere paper figure, would dare to develop a consciousness of rebellion? If you had simply accepted your fate, it would have sufficed. Instead, you strayed from the main plot, causing me 3 years of toil to rectify the course. But fret not, you shall not have another chance to oppose me. You will gradually fade away, until naught but a memory remains. Was she truly that formidable? I approached her calmly, seizing her neck with a vice-like grip. What if she were to perish? Could she still reshape this world? Previously, I had never contemplated murder, a consequence of my refined upbringing.
Now,
the thought of killing arose from the realization that she transcended humanity. She was no longer human, she was a demon. Zhouya's eyes rolled back in desperation, her breath faltering as I reveled in the exhilaration of my actions. In the next instant, time rewound. A failure. Zhouya sat unharmed upon the sofa, her eyes filled with hatred, evidently recalling my earlier assault. She gingerly touched her neck, astonished by my ruthlessness. I drew near once more, intent on attempting to end her life again. If one attempt failed, surely a second would suffice. I refused to believe that she could resurrect infinitely. Every realm abides by its own rules, and this virtual world was no exception. Zhouya fled, yet I captured her again, this time shattering a glass and plunging it into her carotid artery. Her eyes widened in terror as she gazed at me. You lunatic, Qiao Zhirong, you've lost your mind. I am the creator of this world. What do you gain by opposing me? Zhouya's blood flowed incessantly, staining my vision with its vivid hue. To not antagonize you would still result in my destruction. Better to perish together. My words struck her, revealing me as a madman devoid of all. She dared not provoke me further, instead pleading for mercy. Qiao Zhirong, I was wrong. Please, calm down. Let us discuss this, shall we? I dismissed her words, knowing that if I paused, She could easily script my demise in the next moment. Her current capitulation stemmed merely from her fear of the agony of death. Perhaps she would not truly perish. However, the pain she experienced would remain unabated. Before her death, time rewound once more. Joya swiftly rose and attempted to flee, but her frail form faltered, and I seized her once again. In that moment, I found gratitude in her portrayal of a simple-minded, physically robust character, allowing me to capture her with ease time and again. This time, she fled to the kitchen, granting me the opportunity to seize a knife. I brandished the fruit knife and plunged it into her chest. Xiao Jerome, you dare to harm me repeatedly. I will not forgive you. I shall ensure you meet the most dreadful end. I will strip you of everything, violate, and then kill, and then violate. Withdrawing the blade, I thrust it in once more. I would not allow her a moment to rewrite the plot. I would kill her without pause. We would be trapped in the vortex of time's regression, not allowing even a second's respite. It was already ruined. I would ensure it was utterly destroyed. As long as I was swift enough, no one could save her. She could not truly be killed. Could she? Time rewound again. She fled once more, but I captured her yet again. Joya was mentally exhausted, while I grew increasingly exhilarated. Years of restraint were released in that moment. Once, for the sake of my mother, I could endure anything. I could hide. I could forgo conflict. I merely wished to protect those I held dear. However, when Joya began to threaten my family, I understood that such measures were futile. She would show no mercy. Whenever she wished, she could dictate the fate of anyone. It was merely a matter of time. Her capture was a result of her own hubris. She chose to assume the guise of my sister to witness my suffering. She entangled me with the memory of my mother, compelling me to accompany her through the main narrative. Though I did not comprehend why she felt the need to adhere to this plot, it was of no consequence to me. All I knew was that I needed to control her, to bind her. If I let her go this time, she would undoubtedly crush me into oblivion. I seized a vase and brought it crashing down upon her head. She collapsed. Even in unconsciousness, I would strike again. I picked up another vase, but Meng Tingchen intervened, blocking my strike. Enough, Rong. I shook off his grasp, glaring at him with fury. He held my hand tightly, restraining my actions. Rong, this is futile. You are ensnaring yourself in a cycle of death. I looked at him in shock. He too possessed memories of time's reversal. When did this begin? You wish to protect Joya? To safeguard her? I challenged him. Meng Tingchen gazed at me with hurt. Do you truly believe I am so unworthy of your trust? After all these years, you abandoned me without a second thought, venturing abroad alone. I lowered my gaze in silence, acknowledging my fault. I had indeed been unjustly distrustful of him. Because of He Xiuyou, I had excluded Meng Tingchen entirely, denying him the opportunity to explain himself. Aren't you content? To be by Joya's side? Even now, I questioned his intentions. Meng Tingchen looked wounded. Is this truly how you perceive me? My silence provided him with an answer. He inhaled deeply and recounted the events of the past years. It turned out that his interference had delayed Joya's pursuit of me, preventing her from reclaiming her power. Joya, unwilling to accept my escape, was relegated to the status of an ordinary individual. Without me as her stepping stone, her main narrative could not progress. If I had not fled in fear from Joya, disturbing her, she could not have altered the plot. In essence, Joya could only ascend by stepping on me. As long as I remained nearby, she could wield her powers of narrative alteration and time regression. It became clear why she had deduced my involvement when she was disfigured. It was because her time reversal had succeeded, revealing the truth. Meng Tingchen's revelations brought clarity to my mind.
Öregardet Zoyak oldu.
This was her motive for seeking to ascend by stepping on me. The reason she could locate me was straightforward. The plot guided her to my presence, indicating my general direction. Meng Tingchen's interference disrupted her perception, causing her to waste precious time searching through countless nations. He had attempted to act against Joya, but some inexplicable force restrained him. Ultimately, he feigned submission and remained by her side. I had been foolish. Had I possessed even a modicum of trust in Meng Tingchen, we would not have reached this point. Joya, I now realized that the means to defeat you were deceptively simple. The truth was, the seemingly indomitable, you could be erased with ease. All that was required was to render your existence devoid of value. All that was needed was to eliminate your capacity to alter the narrative and rewind time. I gazed at the unconscious Zhouya and injected her with a substantial dose of medication, ensuring she would sleep for 2 days and nights. When Zhouya awoke again, she found herself transported to a deserted island in the South Indian Ocean. This desolate place, forsaken by humanity, was forgotten by the world. To prevent any chance of escape, I stationed guards, ready to confine her once more at the first sign of an escape. This was akin to an uninhabited prison. Qiao Jiarong, you are no human. You are utterly malevolent. How dare you confine me here? I shall not let this transgression go unpunished. I am the creator of this world, and all of you are mere characters born from my pen. If I desire your demise, then you shall meet it. Had I known of your cruelty sooner, I would have penned a tragic existence for you. You have unjustly reveled in a life of privilege. Should I not be afforded a semblance of enjoyment as well? I am indeed the architect of this realm. Qiao Jiarong, I was mistaken. I shall no longer oppose you. Grant me my freedom, I beseech you. Qiao Jiarong, you shall continue to be the esteemed eldest daughter of the Qiao family. I will not usurp your mother's place. Please show me mercy. Zhouya transitioned from vehement reproach, terror, and panic to a state of numbness, remorse, and supplication. Gradually, she came to the harrowing realization that she was utterly alone, destined to wither away in solitude, which drove her to madness. She lived like a savage, yet was even less than that. Survival was her plight, yet existence felt akin to death. Years passed, and she was deemed a useless NPC by this world, stripped of her creator's power, effectively erased. The so-called erasure was, in truth, assimilation. She did not perish. Rather, she lost all memory, retaining only the knowledge that she was but a primitive being. It was astonishing how easily it transpired. After Zhouya's erasure, everything returned to its rightful course. Aside from myself and Meng Tingchen, no one recalled Zhouya's existence. Even her mother reverted to normalcy. In that moment, I truly found solace. Years later, Meng Tingchen remained steadfast by my side, unwavering and loyal. I must express my gratitude to my younger self for indulging in imaginative play and choosing Meng Tingchen as my childhood husband, thus securing a sliver of hope for my future. Rong, I have always believed that companionship is the most enduring declaration of love. So, when shall you take me as your bride?
The end.
Thank you for listening. I look forward to our next story together.